Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of an odd subject,
But I was very insistent that we needed to do it.
I have a few things to talk about. Griffin seems to have a lot. It's aliens.
So, Hudson, do you think aliens exist?
I mean, how could they not?
Exactly. The universe is, as we believe right now, infinite.
I mean, but who's saying it's not a simulation?
We'll get into that another day.
We can talk about that some other time.
Yes. So with aliens, the thing is, it's just
There's so many possibilities.
there's so many possibilities. It's infinite. The universe is infinite, and there could be aliens. I mean, we're very positive there aren't, but for all we know, there are microbacterial aliens on Mars that we just haven't found yet.
They're just, like, maybe they're just evading us somehow.
Or maybe there are some crazy, super intelligent alien millions of light years away from us, or trillions of light years away from us, who will never get to us. Because if you're going in the universe, you can go infinitely up, infinitely down, infinitely left, infinitely right, infinitely in any direction. What are the chances that they're going to choose the direction that takes them to Earth? And also, what are the chances that they're actually going to know about us?
Yeah. And if they did see us and hear about us, what would they do? That's a question.
And the thing is, what would they gain from visiting us?
Like, if they're, say, our intelligence tour, but if they got to us, they probably wouldn't be our intelligence because we can see pretty far and we've explored most of our area.
Well, except for the ocean.
Oh, yeah, we
If
know
they came from underneath, we might not even know.
Yeah, there's probably people living under the sea. And yeah,
No.
no, I bet there is.
No.
Yes. Why is that no?
Because I've said so. Anyway,
Because what?
I've said so.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Anyway, so going on. Have you heard of the Fermi paradox?
I have.
Do you know what
one,
it is?
I know what it is. It's on like one video. I've seen it on one video.
So it's a paradox by a guy named Fermi, whose last name was Fermi. I don't know his first name.
First name.
And it basically states that the very fact that we haven't seen aliens and aliens haven't contacted us
Doesn't mean they're not
kind
real.
of proves that they are real. It's kind of counterintuitive, but
yeah.
basically,
How is it a paradox?
what if beats
know.
me?
I just like the name.
It's just the name. Really, and there's also a chance that there are aliens like all around us, and yet there are the same amount of like intelligence as we are, and they're just not crazy gods of super intelligent craziness. I
And
guess.
one thing is to point out is that if aliens found us, who's saying that they wouldn't treat, and if they are smarter than us, who's saying that they wouldn't treat us like we treat creatures on our Earth?
Yeah, exactly. If they're smarter than us, when has it ever been a good time that an explorer comes to a new land and meets new people? Christopher Columbus coming to the Americas, he met some Native Americans, and
he was a jerk.
They almost all died because of the viruses that he had. However, we could reverse that and say that the aliens will come here and they have no idea how our immune system works, and their immune systems aren't up to small viruses that we almost like never have terribly. Like, say one of them gets, I don't know, chicken pox, has no idea what it is, and it just spreads to all of them and kills them instantly.
I think that they'd be able to.
Yeah, but
I think it'd be the other way around. So,
well, it could be.
Like they could just have come up with some super thing to make their immune system completely harmless.
The question is, how far are they thinking ahead? Because we don't have a way to very effectively know if they're going to come.
Yeah.
We don't know if aliens are going to come, and they could come. They could come tomorrow. They could come in a year. They could come in many years.
They might have come 10 years ago, but they erased all our memories.
It's possible. Anyway,
anything's possible.
So we don't know when they're going to come or if they're going to come. There are still institutes like SETI that actually research it, and I forget the name of the website, but there's a website that has the protocols of what SETI's website. It has on it the protocols of what should happen if the SETI alien were to come to Earth, how we should address it, or even if we just found alien life. Because if we found alien life,
most likely people will
overreact, even if it's long dead. If we find
anything unusual,
alien life, and the government ends up telling everybody, it's basically, it's gonna be everybody's going to overreact. And
There's this one thing that about
sorry, I've got a
something.
bit of a cold.
Yeah, there's something on like a YouTube channel called, I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's
Kurzgesagt.
Kurzgesagt. You've
And
probably seen it. It's the one with the K and the U's and the G's and the S's and
all
the T's and
lots of
Z's.
letters.
Odd letters.
And there was in one video, I forget which one. Maybe it was the Fermi paradox, might have been, but they talked about something called great filters, to where if there was alien life, there were some filters they had to go through, such as if they did get smart enough, they would have to not succumb to nuclear war. They would need to survive an ice age. They need to survive lots of things, and we've passed through a couple of these great filters. Not, we don't know about nuclear war yet, though. So
yeah, that's always an option, and it's possibly a bad one. Um, so Hudson, do you believe that aliens will come to us?
I have no way of knowing. No, neither I.
I mean, I guess, what do you think would happen if somebody found out there were aliens and was able to convince everybody else that it was true? What do you think would happen?
Um, there's just so many different possibilities. I think if it happened in the near future, it would just erupt all over Twitter, YouTube, the entire internet, and everyone would just go crazy. They would just make videos about it and so much stuff. What do you think would happen?
I don't know. Really, I'm looking at SETI's website right now. I'm looking at their FAQs, and it says they raise, which is surprising to me, $1.5 million each year.
Wow.
And their annual operating budget is almost $18 million. So I would think that they would find it, and it wouldn't be some guy in his middle age in his backyard with a telescope.
Yeah, the American government, I forgot how much they spend, and I could be totally wrong, but they spend like billions on military, and I think it should just be spent on.
Well, they spend billions of dollars on military, and NASA is really only getting a couple. I think maybe a bit less than $1 billion each year. And really, if only a fraction of the amount that the military got went to NASA, we would be much more advanced in space travel and stuff like that. Also, recently it was figured out that that their government in the Pentagon actually had a program looking at UFOs that had been going on for 5 years and nobody knew about it. And some of the files from that have been released to the public. And there's one that actually shows a video of a fighter plane chasing what appears to be a box moving at incredible speed, like way faster than he can possibly go. And the government claims that was a test plane, but there was no wings, no rudder, nothing. It was just a glowing box.
Yeah, I think that with like the development of the internet, cameras, and just like overall technology, it's just so hard to believe someone.
Well, and the fact that every UFO video you see is so insanely blurry. Look up a UFO video. It will be blurry. And I mean, I'm not saying that phone cameras are great, but with everybody having phones, don't you think it's odd there's a video of Yellowstone, a flying saucer apparently hovering over Yellowstone?
Why Yellowstone?
Don't you think that, I guess it was by Old Faithful, don't you think that like the thousands, I guess probably thousands of people that visit Old Faithful each day, out of every one of them, one person who didn't have a camera that was like terrible and records like terrible video that only can like get like 15 pixels.
Yeah. It would have to be so blurry.
Somebody with like an actual iPhone would take an actual detailed video of it. It just the very fact that every UFO video ever is so blurry, or just something about it is so off.
There's just, you can't trust. I mean, I'm not saying you can't trust anyone, but it's just like there's so many fake videos out there that with all the technology we have, there's just no way of knowing.
Exactly.
It's real.
And I mean, there are, of course, a couple documented instances of people looking at it that the government has looked into, Roswell and stuff like that, that the government always says is weather balloons.
Yeah.
What's it with weather balloons, I asked you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we going to talk about? Yes, we're going to talk about how aliens kind of, have you ever heard about, Hudson, how sometimes people say that time travel never gets invented because
we shouldn't start talking about time travel.
I'm just going to mention something because it kind of ties into the aliens.
Episode of its own.
Some people say that time travel doesn't exist because we haven't seen somebody who's time traveled.
That's such bad logic.
The logic doesn't work. I'm just gonna really quickly go into one thing about time traveling. It's going to
I
annoy
could talk
Hudson.
about time travel for hours.
We may record one of those soon about time travel. I look
definitely.
forward to that. Um, Basically, theoretical physicists have figured out that time travel probably could actually not. Okay, now don't quote me on this. Could not go into the future. So
Oh,
time travel could only go into the past, but once you got back to the past, you couldn't go back to where you had been.
oh. Well, that people could use that to their advantage.
They could use that to their advantage.
Like, what if I don't know? This is just a stupid thing. But what if someone just like was sitting there and they had a box of pizza and they ate it and then they went back in time and then the pizza was good again?
Well,
they,
yeah.
They could just have that experience over.
Anyway,
over.
so that might be a reason why in the future we might develop time travel, but you might not want to do it because if you went back into the past, you couldn't come back and you wouldn't have a way to come back.
Yeah.
Anyway, off time travel, that's a topic for another day, another time.
I could talk about that forever.
Anyway, back to aliens. So it's kind of the same thing. Just because aliens haven't come yet doesn't mean that they won't come, or there might just be some strong incentive for them not to come.
We don't know.
We don't know exactly. It's so much of a mystery, and it could be anything. Unfortunately, that's almost all the time we have for today. I'm sorry this podcast has been a slightly short one, but it turns out that we don't have as much as we thought we had to talk about aliens.
So we'll see you next week on Life,
the universe.
Bye.
Bye.